Hey guys, Tim here, Big Dog Forge. Welcome back. It's good to see you in the shop again. So I've had a request by several subscribers recently and viewers wanting to know if I could show how to make some tongs out of some old hoof nippers that you see kicking around. And you can pick those things up pretty cheap. I mean, I just recently picked up 3 sets for, I think they were $2 a set. I figured I'd use those to take the opportunity to show you guys a couple of things about this and the ins and outs. So anyway, let's get to it, and it's going to be a short one this time around, and I'll have another video coming out here real soon. So all right guys, stick with me now. So we picked up 3 sets of these things. Now keep in mind when you're working with this stuff that these have a higher carbon content. They're not just made in mild steel. They have to keep an edge. They have to be able to be sharpened. They're for cutting horse hooves. So while you're working with them, if you quench them too much and you work them too cold, they'll crack on you. So you got to be really careful. We're going to use this set here to start with. All right, cool off the handles there a little bit. Now I am quenching around that rivet area so that I don't distort it too much, so I can start knocking these jaws out. And to be honest with you, I don't expect that rivet to hold up. It's pretty loose, and it's pretty old. So, and there you go. These things, you can pretty much expect that. So it's almost a given. You're almost better off just taking the rivet out from the beginning and working on the pieces individually rather than dealing with that extra rain hanging all over the place while you're trying to work. So I'm just going to draw these jaws out, and I have to get them to rotate around that rivet area so that the back of the jaws are a little closer together, and in doing so I'm going to distort the punched hole where the rivet goes, but we can redrift that or just drive our new rivet stock through it. There we go. We're getting closer. Alright, so we're going to measure this for a rivet and get a rivet back in it so we can start sizing those jaws to something. We got 7/8 of an inch there. And what we're going to do is, it's a 3/8 inch rod. So we're going to go 3 times 3/8 because we want 1.5 times the diameter of the rod on either side. And I drove it in there hot. And you're going to notice there's a gap. Take yourself a socket or a piece of pipe, or doesn't really matter, something that'll fit over that rivet, and you can knock those two together. Don't get discouraged if your rivet sort of separates, gets a little wonky. You can always straighten that stuff out. It's not too difficult. You're going to notice that I'm not going to finish that rivet off as I start setting these jaws. And the reason is that as I work, the rivet's going to loosen up and it'll need to be tightened. And if I finished it off at the very beginning, by the time I got done with this, it would be a flat little thing and it wouldn't have any head left on it at all. So I'm using one of the dies out of my press to get some shape out of these jaws. And that's a piece of 7/8 inch square high-speed steel. And now I'm going to drop it down to 3/4 inch. That's a piece of wrought iron to just form these jaws around. And it's not too difficult. It takes a little bit. That little higher carbon steel doesn't hold the heat very long. It seems a little tougher, and it's wants to cool off. Alright, so I've got them warmed up and I'm working out the rivet. I gave it its final set and shape. You can hear it squeaking there a little. And I'm going to take a grinder and I'm going to remove some of the scale so I can watch the colors run on this thing. Because I can't just put it in water and work it back and forth like you would a normal set of tongs, because it will cause them to crack and get brittle. So when you're working with these things, if your tongs ever get red hot and you put them in your quench tub to cool them off, chances are they're going to crack on you. So you got to be careful with these guys. There you go. Alright, so if you're going to go through all of that, and you know the rivet's going to break on you, and chances are it will, And you've got to be careful because it's higher carbon steel, and you're pretty much the only thing you're not doing is maybe creating a couple of offsets and punching, kind of a thing. So I have a better alternative, or a simpler alternative for you, and I think that in my case anyway, this is what I've always done, simply because it saves a bunch of time, effort, and they're kind of temporary tongs anyway, although I've got a couple of sets that I've had for a really long time and they work really well. But take a look at this. Maybe this is an alternative for you if you have just some of the basic fabrication skills and tools that you need to do this. And most people do, and there's a wide variety of tools you can use to do this with. So take a look at this and let me know what you think. So we took a piece of 3/4 inch angle iron and we marked these V grooves in the end of the jaws of this set of hoof nippers, and we're just going to cut these off with an abrasive wheel on our 4.5 inch grinder. Clean that up a little bit. Alright, there you go. You can see those guys. Now I've used a couple of different tongs here to show you this because I lost some footage, but you'll get the idea. So we take our angle iron, put our 3/4 inch stock in it, down into the jaws, and we weld it on from the front side. And I'm going to do 2 passes, one down on the jaws and then one up a little higher on the angle iron. Alright, now we held that angle iron down inside those jaws just a little bit. You can see it in there. That's so we can run a bead along the back side of that and strengthen those jaws. Alright, now we made these pretty long. They're excessively long. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark these things off. There you go. And we're going to cut them back a little bit. We don't need them quite that long. Alright, just stick them over to the bandsaw and whack them off there. And we'll grind the little edges down, make them nice and smooth. Clean them up a little bit. And we're going to get these guys into the forge and normalize them a little bit and take some of that brittleness out of them. Make sure they're not going to crack anywhere, that kind of thing, while we're using them. Let them cool on the anvil. Alright, the original. There's our forged set, and there's our fabricated set. And honestly, I prefer to use the fabricated set only because they seem to be a little bit more versatile. They've got that little bolt jaw business going on in the back, and I like that kind. Alright, let's wrap this up. Alright guys, so there you go, and there you have it. These didn't come out too badly. They're not, let's get this up here where you can see it. They're not perfect. They do hold the material. Little nubs are still in there. And they're pretty strong, actually. They're not bad. Those are usable tongs. These guys, pretty lined up. They're very strong. Little bolt jaw type things there. And 10 minutes. The other guys, almost an hour. Anyway guys, if I'm going to take the time to do this, and they're going to be a temporary set of tongs, if you have the ability, I would go this route, simply because it's quicker, easier, and I think it gives you a few more options with that sort of bolt jaw area back there, and these things work just as well. So take it for what it's worth, whether you want to hammer them out or fabricate them. Either way, I prefer the fabricated type simply because they're, like I said, quicker, easier, and you get a little more out of them, I think, and you don't have to worry about redoing a rivet and reconfiguring the jaws and getting them to move around the front and all that stuff. Anyway guys, I think we're going to call it good this time around. Thanks for stopping by Big Dog Forge. I really do appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe. If you wouldn't mind hitting that little like button, that'd be awesome. I really appreciate that. Alright guys, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you stopping by Big Dog Forge. We'll have another video out real soon. And take care of yourselves. All right? Be safe. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.